Good morning, Paul here from Warwick Psychological Services. I want to talk to you today about how to deal with uncertainty. Now, I'm recording this in the days of, well, the early days of the shutdown of COVID-19, but really we face uncertainty every day as human beings and it messes with our heads. We do not like uncertainty. What we like is we like to know what's going on. We like to have a predictable, safe, boring life where things happen as we expect them to happen. Well, unfortunately, we don't live in a world like that. We live in a world where random bad things happen to good people. So, yeah, dealing with uncertainty is going to be something that we'll have to deal with throughout our lives. And in a nutshell, the solution is to focus on what is certain. That's the shortcut. But I want to talk to you about why it is, what the problem is, and talk to some solutions about how to deal with all the uncertainty we're facing right now in our lives. And I want to start by talking about a real bugbear of mine, something I just don't like, which is the news. I hate the news, I really do. And whenever the subject of the TV news, the radio news, the newspapers comes up with my clients, I always tell them, look, just ditch it, get it out of your life, don't watch it, don't listen to it, don't read it. The news is generally an absolute nightmare for people's anxieties. And the reason for that is that as humans, we are threat focused. 100,000 years ago, if one of our ancestors was particularly threat focused, they would be able to see the saber-toothed tiger coming. You know, they'd be, oh, where's the next threat coming from? Oh my gosh, is it up there? Is it down there? They'd live their life in a constant state of nervousness, and because of that, they wouldn't get eaten by something. Whereas if somebody 100,000 years ago was really calm and relaxed and didn't have anxiety, then they just assume everything was going to be okay, and they would eat those red berries and die. Yeah, so humans genetically over the last 100,000 years, we've become more and more threat focused. You and I, we are the result of thousands of generations of anxious people who worried enough to survive long enough to breed. That's what we are. So humans are very threat focused. And the people who run the news, they know this. And so there's a saying within news journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. Right? So if you've got a story with blood in it, a story where it would be something really nasty that's happened that people watching the news could relate to, then it leads the broadcast. Yeah. So a home invasion, for example, will lead a news broadcast. Home invasions are actually incredibly rare. But when they happen, they'll be on the front of the news, the first story. Yeah, because that's the sort of thing people are terrified of. Somebody breaking into their cave and stealing their fire and their family. Oh, sorry, that's 100,000 years ago, isn't it? Yeah, but that's how the brain works, you know. So if it bleeds, it leads. We're threat focused. We love the stuff on the news that tells us about stuff we should be terrified of. Now, if you watch the news today during this COVID outbreak and pandemic, all the news is about COVID. Yeah, everything, even the sport, is about when the National Rugby League might start again or whatever. It's all about COVID. Does that mean that nothing else is happening in the world? Do you think that, I mean, a lot of things have stopped in the world, don't get me wrong, but do you think people are still not robbing banks? Do you think that people are still not having car crashes? Why are those things not on the news anymore? Have you wondered that? Well, it's because there's something scarier now. Everybody's terrified of COVID-19. So that leads the news and continues until the weather comes on. Yeah, the weather is the only thing on the news that isn't to do with COVID-19 at the moment. So if you watch the news, all you're going to get is more scared. Yeah? So when you're dealing with a time of uncertainty, you shouldn't be heaping more anxiety on yourself and watching the news for half an hour. Well, I mean, we've all got more spare time on our hands and we've got more access to the news than ever before. So I'm sure there's people out there watching the news 4 hours a day now. It won't be doing you any good at all. If there is stuff out there you need to know about COVID-19 or about anything else, you'll find out about it. Don't worry. Someone will tell you. Yeah? If somebody comes up with a cure, Or if somebody comes up with a vaccine, someone will let you know. They will. I listened to the radio news on the way in at 9 o'clock this morning, and this was ABC, so it's not commercial news. It's supposed to be good quality news. And I listened to it, and I'd like you to actually try this. I listened to it and I said, well, okay, is there anything on here where there is information that's going to keep me safer? And there wasn't anything. There was nothing. There was nothing. All it was conjecture. There was a story about when our borders may reopen. Well, no one knows. There was a story about how many people had died in Italy overnight. That's tragic. Absolutely horrible. Awful. But knowing the number, whether it's 600, 700 or 800, does not keep me safer. Yeah? And then there was a story about conjecture about whether people can be reinfected once they've already had it. Again, it's just pure conjecture. It's not information. So it adds nothing to me. It doesn't help me at all. All it does is bring more of this uncertainty into my life. So you should be avoiding that uncertainty. Don't watch the news. If you want to, this is what I do. Go on a website that you trust once a day. Read through it. If there's stories about what might happen, don't read them. Nobody knows what's going on at the moment with this COVID. Nobody knows if they're going to be able to make a vaccine. Nobody knows how long the shutdowns are going to last for. Nobody knows this stuff. It's just people guessing. And when you read what people are guessing or you listen to what people are guessing, all it does is just introduce more uncertainty into your life. And that's what we're looking to avoid here. Yeah? All right, what else have I got? I've got a little note thing here. I can't remember all this. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so what sort of things can we do about this? One thing you can do is write down a list of 10 things you are certain about in your life. Now, your job may not be certain at the moment. Yeah? Your family, what they're going to do over the next few months with schooling or education may not be certain. But there are things you can come up with that you are certain about. For example, I'm certain that I'm going to be able to get to keep my 3 cats and my 3 chickens. Yeah, that's not changing. Yeah, I'm certain that if I don't exercise, I'm going to get fat. So we should all be exercising every day. We've got no excuse. We've got more time on our hands now. So please, that's something else you can do is exercise. Yeah. These homework tasks, like write down 10 things you can be certain about. It sounds so boring, doesn't it? But give it a go, just write down the things you know that you're certain about. Have a think about those things. So much of it, it's really going to be difficult for you. I promise it's going to be hard. It's going to be really challenging to come up with 10 because that's not what our brain wants. Our brain wants us to focus on the threats, not the things we're certain about. Yeah? For example, if you are in a rental house at the moment, you are certain you're not going to get evicted in the next 6 months because the government has said no evictions. So even if you can't pay your rent, you're going to be okay. If you are in a mortgage property, again, there's going to be no foreclosures in the next 6 months. So you're certain about your accommodation. Yeah? After the 6 months, whether you'll have to pay some more money, I don't know that. But just write down the things you're certain of, even if they're very simple, easy things. Get your brain focusing on what you can control. Yeah? And another thing you can do is you can make plans. Now, as I said in a previous video, I'm not that keen on making 5-year plans or anything because things change so fast in life and things are changing even faster now. Information's coming out that we didn't know a week ago about this virus. So yeah, you can still make plans. For example, you can make a plan to go on holiday to Geraldton or something. I don't know why I came up with Geraldton. I like Geraldton, but anyway. Yeah, you can make a plan and not set a date for it. So you can do your research on where you would like to go while you're there, where you might go out to dinner. Even though those places aren't open at the moment, you can still plan. You can plan for your future. You can plan fun things that you will do when this stupid virus is over. Yeah? Just don't attach dates to those things. Normally that's what you do, isn't it? You'd say, I'm going to go to Bali for 2 weeks. Well, yeah, you can still plan to go to Bali for 2 weeks. You can still write yourself a shopping list for when you're in Bali or whatever. But just don't put dates on those things yet. It may be that we can do those things in 6 months. It might be 9 months. It might be 3 months. We don't know. So don't get into that whole thing of I'm uncertain about when I'm going. Just say, well, I am certain I'm going to go. I'm just not going to think about the fact that I don't know when, but I'm still going to plan this holiday. And you can look at videos that other people have prepared about their holidays. There's an unbelievable series called Travel Man, which is very, very funny. It's a really humorous travel series. So you can watch travel shows and that sort of thing with a view to, yes, I would like to do that thing when I am able to. So yeah, you can plan for the future, and you can focus on the things that you can control in that. For example, I can tell you that the Sistine Chapel in Rome is still going to be there in 2021. Coronavirus is not going to change that. It's still going to be there in 3021. So there are things you can plan. You can plan that you want to go and see your favourite football team in England play. You're just not sure when that's going to be yet. You know, what will you do that day? Which team would you like to see them play? All that sort of stuff. You can make all those really elaborate plans. And when you're making those plans, what you're doing with your brain is you're focusing on things you can decide about, things you can know about, things that are certain, rather than uncertainty. So at the very start of this, I said it's important to focus on what is certain in uncertain times. And that's, I guess, what I'm encouraging you to do here, is to focus on what it is you do want to do after all this is over. I haven't actually told my family what my plans are, but I can tell you there's a holiday in there. Yeah, there really is. And we're all going to need a holiday after this. We're all going to deserve to spread our wings and fly. And even people who have suffered really badly with anxiety before and have thought, well, or, you know, travel, it's really beyond me. You know, I've got clients who have never left WA because they're anxious about the thought of travel. I think that they'll reconsider during this time, and they'll say, no, you know what, after this I realise that I do absolutely have to make the most of my life. I have to take risks. During this time when we're told not to take risks, a lot of people will balance that by taking risks afterwards. So plan what risks you want to take. If you've always wanted to skydive, after that's probably the time to do it, you know. All right, good to talk to you. Hope things are going well with you. Check out the YouTube channel, check out the website, which is Warwick Psychological Services, www.wps.support. My name's Paul Ward. I'm a clinical psychologist. Stay safe and stay well.